Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and now that the Isle of Grom is open for everybody, I thought we'd have a bit of an honest conversation about what it all means, because of course up until now you've had to have the Escape Pass Premium to get access to the island, and the access that we've currently got for everybody is going to be ending on May the 5th, and then you do need to use your RIP chips if you want to get access to the island, again if you don't have the Escape Pass Premium. So why kind of have they done that, and what does it mean moving forward for new map expansions? Well, let's take a look. Now, while talking about the Isle of Grom, I'm just going to be doing a little bit of exploring because there are a ton of people out there that haven't really played this yet, because again, they haven't had the premium version of the Skate Pass, which of course is the paid Skate Pass you can get in Skate and allows you to have some unlocks. You've got some cosmetics, you've got some branded gear, decks, stickers, clothing, and that's all for a paid item. Now, in the UK, it costs around £8 or so for the Skate Pass, and from March 10th up until April 14th, people with the Skate Pass Premium have also had access to the Isle of Grom as an additional benefit to basically paying for the Skate Pass and supporting the developers with a little bit of cash. However, from now pretty much until May 5th, everybody now has access to the Isle of Grom. However, once that's passed and we get onto May 6th, it's then going to be 500 RIP chips for those people that again don't have the Skate Pass Premium, which I'll be honest guys, I don't necessarily have a problem with. Now, I know that might be a little bit controversial, but let me explain. However, first what we'll do is just do a little bit of exploring around the Isle of Grom real quick. So once you first start off, you've got this really nice ledge area down the bottom here with some really nice lighting to it. And of course we have the nighttime version of Grom, which for me, we haven't played yet. Even though we paid for the access technically through the Skate Pass, we haven't actually had this version of the map. So people that haven't paid at all are actually getting a little bit more than those that did originally pay in terms of the special version of the map that we've got here. We've got the Nike SB Park down at the bottom, and the nighttime look just looks pretty cool. Now, the main attraction, of course, is the clock tower side of things, where we are just here, or sort of the observatory side of things. And as you can see, there is a ton of people here pretty much constantly, because this is pretty much the only mega ramp now that we have in Skate. We did have some mega ramps through Season 2, however, now that we're on Season 3, they have unfortunately been removed. So realistically, if you do want to get some big air and do some crazy front flip price stairs, then to be honest, this is kind of the only place you can do it at the moment, which might be a little bit disappointing when it eventually leaves for those people that again don't have the Skate Pass. Ouch. That was not ideal. But yeah, I think that for me, obviously, yes, okay, I've had a sponsored video with EA for Skate specifically, but they didn't actually give me anything for free. Yes, okay, there's a paid promotion in the video, and okay, yeah, you could say that if I then used that money to go ahead and get the Skate Pass, then technically they did, but Season 1, Season 2, I paid for the Skate Pass completely out of my own pockets, because again, for me, I just wanted some of these cosmetics that you get in the Skate Pass, and for me, I do like the feeling of sort of having something that people don't have when it comes to cosmetics in games. I think if you think about Fortnite and the Renegade Raider skin that was kind of one of the rarest skins in the game, to have that originally, you had a sort of status about it, and with Skate, I think to get access to some of these items that may never come to the item shop, for me, I just kind of like having those in my locker. Even if I don't really use them all that often, to know that they're there is kind of cool, you know, support from day one. Yeah, I'm kind of here for it. Now, heading into the spillway side of things, obviously with Season 3, the Skate Pass changed quite a lot, because of course, not only did we get branded content with some items from Thrasher and Vans and Adidas, but we also then had the Isle of Grom, which was accessible for those with the Skate Pass as kind of an early access bonus, essentially. So from March 10th up until April 14th, that was not ideal. If you had the Skate Pass Premium, you've been able to come to the Isle of Grom completely free, no in-game currency, no RIP chips, nothing at all, just as a bonus to having the Skate Pass. And there was a lot of controversy around that, but for me, I kind of get it. Now, that's not to say that I'm siding on, you know, the corporate side when it comes to EA, because I do think that a lot of decisions that they're making, especially when it comes to Skate or just video games in general, just doesn't really sit right with me. But for this one, it was just an added bonus to getting the Skate Pass. So much like the Vans Era shoes that you have in the Skate Pass that you wouldn't have unless you got the pass, it's kind of the same. Like, you wouldn't have access to the Isle of Grom unless you paid for the Skate Pass. So it wasn't really paid access, it was more of an addition to something that you've kind of already paid for. It didn't cost anything additional to get to the Isle of Grom through the skate pass, so for me, I don't see it as being paid whatsoever. And as we explore the spillway section here with some massive air out of this pipe with a ton of objects above it, I've been noticing that a lot with the Isle of Grom for some reason. I'm not sure whether it's people protesting or whatever it may be, but a lot of people are putting down their own sort of items in the worst places, like the bottom of the mega ramp. So I would actually suggest that if you do come to the Isle of Grom, then turn off the collision side of things for items that aren't yours, because yeah, you might not have the greatest experience. Now, when it comes to the free version of the Isle of Grom that we have here, like I mentioned before, it is a nighttime version. You've got the Nike SB Park at the bottom, so you are getting something a little bit extra if you didn't pay for the skate pass. So again, I kind of, you know, I kind of get it, and it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst deal in the world. A lot of free-to-play games have a similar sort of mantra to it where, you know, you pay for the skate pass or the battle pass and you get additional items and things for free, and then people that didn't pay for it don't get those items. However, with Skate, then, you know, it's now open for everyone, and yeah, okay, it's only until May the 5th. However, after that, it's also, in my opinion, free to get here. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't cost in-game currency. However, the rip chips, they're not something that you can use real-world money for. So you can't just go in and buy, you know, 20,000 rip chips and come to the Isle of Grom a bunch of times. You have to actually play the game to get to the island. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the maths is in regards to daily challenges or just in general challenges when you log into the game, but I will put them on screen now just in regards to, okay, so if you don't have the skate pass and you do want to come to the Isle of Grom, how long or how many challenges do you have to do in the game to actually then get access to it? And now just heading to the hill bomb section, which again, I actually do really like. And the video that I put up not too long ago about seeing the other new map, which I don't actually think we can see from the Isle of Grom. No, I think it's on the other side of the city, but we can kind of see the other map that I think is the next part that we're going to be getting, which is a more sort of San Francisco hill bomb type area. So this area that we're in now with a ton of massive hills, you can get a ton of speed here. I think it's going to be a bit similar, just with more buildings around it. So yeah, when that eventually does come, again, that's something that I'll be playing pretty much from day one as well. And again, if it's something that is included in the skate pass as an additional benefit for a period of time, then for me, I again don't really mind all that much. Now, that's not to say that I don't get where people are coming from when they talk about the skate pass and having to pay to get access to the new area. You know, I do kind of get it, and yeah, it makes sense. You don't want to have to buy the skate pass to get access to the map, and then once that is done, you don't want to have to use the rip chip side of things. So why are they using rip chips to actually get access? Well, if I'm being honest, I actually think it's due to the player numbers. Now, it's a little bit unclear at the moment, and the stats are a little bit hard to find. However, from what I know, there has been around 20 or so million players that have jumped into Skate. Now, that's not concurrent players. Obviously, it's not the most popular game in the world or anything like that. But in terms of the amount of players that they've had, that is a lot of people. Now, I don't also know exactly the numbers side of things when it comes to the servers. However, if we have a quick look at the minimap here, heading down to the Nike SB Park, you can see we've got a ton of people down here, and also leading up to it, we've got some in the spillway here as well. And of course, around the mega ramp side of things, I'm pretty sure there's 100 or so players just in this particular server. And while I'm exploring this sort of snake run wall ride area as well, I think the reason why they are doing the rip chips is because they don't want everybody here all the time. For me, I actually think Isle of Grom is not better necessarily, but it is different to what we have with San Van. So I think that a lot of people will spend a lot of time here, and I just don't think the servers are built that way necessarily. I think the main island has been and always will be San Van. I don't think that anytime soon the main place to come is going to be the Isle of Grom. I think that it's going to be sort of, okay, we're going to have some more areas that we can get access to and some more sort of, I guess, kind of DLC, but not really. It's just a free map expansion. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of these moving forward, and I think that they're just going to be kind of offshoots of the main island. I think that when we do get access to that other area that I mentioned, they're going to complete the bridge, and you're going to have to get a taxi over there, or they may fill the bridge with some skatable items like you just see on the tunnel side of things that launched in Season 2. I don't know, we'll see obviously what they do from that side of things. But yeah, I think they still want to keep people on the main island if they can, because then again, in regards to servers, numbers, and just keeping things a little bit more stable, it makes sense to have one sort of area and not really break up the player base all that much. It kind of reminds me of when Call of Duty back in the day had actual DLC content. So I think it was Modern Warfare 2, you could get map packs, and obviously a ton of other Modern Warfare's done it as well, but you could actually buy a DLC map pack which included 4 additional maps, and if you had the DLC, it would try and matchmake you with people that also had the DLC, and it kind of broke up the player base ever so slightly. So I do think that if this allowed complete free access to all these new areas that aren't part of the main map, then it would kind of break up the player base in regards to party numbers, challenges, and how do they sort of balance that out as well, and, you know, daily challenges, weekly challenges, and, you know, they can't really put any weekly challenges or, you know, monthly challenges on the Isle of Grom technically, because not everybody has it, which is why I think their main focus will still be the, you know, just the main island, which I kind of get, but that then leads to another sort of issue, I guess, with, well, how often are they going to update that map? We've had a kind of, I guess, color swap on a couple of things more recently, and the parking lot, which really isn't anything special. So yeah, you know, if they update that more regularly, then it kind of makes sense. And again, I just think that's what people are actually, you know, looking for. But yeah, for me, I kind of get the whole Isle of Grom thing. I get it from both sides. I get it from the side of it being included in the escape pass. I also kind of understand why people would be angry that it is in the escape pass, and, you know, the rip chip situation as well. I do kind of get it. And of course, if they are going to be adding more additional new areas, is there also going to have to be a rip chip access as well? Because imagine they've got, you know, it's what, 500 rip chips to get to the Isle of Grom, and that's going to be after May 5th. Now, if they've got 4 additional new maps, let's just say, then we're talking, you know, 2,000 rip chips to get access to these new areas. So I don't think it's something they can actually kind of withhold. It seems a bit weird if they were to do that completely for every single map expansion. I don't kind of see how that would be, you know, good in any way. But again, they're doing it with this one, so, you know, they might do it with the other ones as well. But yeah, I think to play the game for a little bit of time, get some rip chips, and then get access to the island, kind of, yeah, I kind of get it if I'm being sort of a bit more level-headed and not just be like, well, hold on a minute. You know, with Skate 1, 2, and 3, you'd buy the DLC and you just had it. You didn't have to worry about it, sort of thing. But then again, the Maloof Money Cup and all these other sort of, we had a nighttime variant of that one map, which is kind of like a sort of factory-type industrial area. They were also paid content. So, if anything, this is kind of better because you don't have to pay for it. You can use the in-game currency. So people didn't really have much uproar when it came to, you know, previous versions of Skate, but yet for this one, they do, and I think it's just because of people's expectations. They see that it's a live service game, and they see what other live service games are doing. You know, you have Call of Duty, which, you know, once every, you know, month or 3 months, I think it is now, when they have a new season drop, they, you know, they have 4 new maps, they have some remakes and stuff, and they've got some zombies things, there's some new guns, and whenever Fortnite have a new update, they've got a ton of new stuff. You know, they've got some map changes, some new weapons, some new events. And with Skate, we had a new battle pass and the Isle of Grom. So yeah, if anything, it is a little bit less than maybe what we're expecting when it comes to a live service game, but yeah, they're still learning. I mean, we're only, you know, 6 or so months into the game. There's still a long way to go, and I just think that we're going to have to wait for some of the other items. I mean, to get Nike SB in the game is a really good start. I hope that they're doing a ton more stuff moving forward now with the brand side of things, and whether it is, you know, events like this or skate parks or, you know, whatever it might be. That's kind of cool. I like that, and I want to see more of it moving forward, whoever it's going to be. If it's an event based on a brand or, you know, a historic skate video or a pro skater, whatever it might be, I think that'd be kind of cool to see, you know, sort of moving forward with this sort of event where everyone can jump in. It's free of charge. Of course, if you go into your tasks, we also have some free items as well. So if you go over to the Nike SB side of things, we got some free Jordans, socks, and a sticker, which is completely free for everybody. So yeah, it's really not that bad. So to kind of round up this video, it's been a bit of a random skate around and chat video. And if you like this kind of video and you want to see more like this moving forward, just sort of a bit of a conversation around Skate, then let me know by leaving a thumbs up down below. But for me, the sort of takeaway, I guess, from this video is I think that what they've done with the Isle of Grom and the Skate Pass and the access, I don't hate it necessarily, which might be a really hot take and a ton of people might completely disagree with me, but let me know in the comment section down below if you do. But for me, I kind of get it, and I'm not on board with it necessarily, but I see what they're doing, and we'll just have to see what happens, you know, moving forward. But with a free-to-play game, I guess if you support the developers by buying things in the game, whether it is the Skate Pass, something from the item shop, whatever it might be, then it is going to make the game better, which, don't get me wrong, is not a great business to have, I guess. I mean, for them it might be if they're making a ton of money, but for us as the players, unfortunately, it's one of those situations where the more money we put in, I think the more we're going to get out of this game, and the less that people buy or the less that people get involved with, whether it's a free event or a skate pass or, you know, a new pair of shoes from the item shop, the less that sort of thing happens, the less development I think is going to happen to Skate, and then I think it's just going to go away and not be what it is anymore. And I don't think they'll come back with a Skate 4 always offline story-driven game mode. I do think that this here is the future of Skate, and I think I'll be doing a video moving forward in regards to why I think that Skate has gone free to play, because I think there's a method behind the madness, and, you know, not to kind of get into it in this video, but no one really had faith, I think, in Skate, and it was a bit of a risk putting out this game. I think that has a massive part to play in why it has gone to a free-to-play game side of things, and yeah, we'll talk about more in a later video. But for now, as always, I want to know from you guys down in the comments below what you think of the Isle of Grom situation. Did you originally have the Skate Pass? Because for me, I had the Skate Pass and I came to the Isle of Grom pretty much every day. And I'll be honest, there was always people here. So although there was a ton of people saying, oh, I'm not going to pay for the Skate Pass to get access to the Isle of Grom, a ton of people did. So yeah, I guess, you know, people are talking more of their wallets and, you know, complaining in the background. But yeah, I think a lot of people got the Skate Pass, came to the Isle of Grom early and enjoyed it for what it was. But let me know in the comment section down below if that was you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. And of course, if you've got any you know, questions, comments, or you want to talk about this kind of stuff, again, let me know in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to talk to you guys about it. For now though, I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. I'm going to go back to enjoying this event, the nighttime map, and unlocking some new things. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.